Hey, what's up, everyone? This is Silver Slayer, and welcome to your daily silver stacking video. Thank you for tuning in. This video is going to get pretty heavy, folks. I hate to say it. Hopefully, it doesn't get too political. I don't care if you're left, right, up, down, front, center. I do not care. But we do have to talk about Joe Biden. We do have to talk about his decision making and how it's going to affect precious metals. That's all I care about. I don't care about your opinion, but we do have to talk about these things. I just don't care what you think about them, but we do have to talk about the outcome and what this will lead to so we can adjust and adapt for the better sake of our silver stacking strategy. This is an investing channel, not a political channel. Now, there's a lot of money getting thrown out. There's a lot of stuff happening right now. You know what's happening. We don't even got to talk about all that type of stuff when we're talking about Afghanistan. Regardless, gold and silver have a direct correlation to the dollar. And it's almost a direct correlation. Now, Biden says his $3.5 trillion spending plan won't stoke inflation. Do you believe that? Let's look at usdebtclock.org. Right now, the national debt is $28,715,059,000,000. That number, this whole red is never going to go green. And it's almost like the more time goes on, the worse it's going to get. When I say the dollar's lost 98% of its purchasing power, I'm not making that number up. It's not 99%. It's not 97%. 98% is a factual number. This was posted in 2021. You can Google it anywhere. It's 98%. This is all that's left of the dollar. You look at a dollar bill. See that little yellow right here? That's about all that's left. It's about half of the trim of the outer side of the border of a dollar. That's all that's left. And do you think that throwing out all this money is going to help? Because when you throw out money, you have to print more money, which then weakens the dollar. And the scariest part is that the US dollar is the world's reserve currency. Everyone across the world relies on the dollar's strength unless they opt out. And a lot of countries are opting out. But then if you opt out, that's even more dangerous, because if people don't have faith in the dollar, then the dollar's not strong. The dollar's only as strong as people think it is. And if people start to think it's not strong, it literally isn't strong because it's not backed by anything. Let's read this article real quick. We'll go into a little bit of this because I really do not want to get political, but we are going to look at everything that is happening, where it's going to go, and also why we should be putting our money into silver, not your bank. Because at the end of the day, the dollar is just weakening, collapsing, crashing, whatever you want to call it. And gold and silver, it can't. 1 ounce of silver is always going to have 1 ounce of silver inside of it, no matter who says that coin is worth what. And I doubt that we're ever going to see silver hit $0, but I can guarantee that the dollar won't last for much longer. Now, how much is much longer? It could be 20 years. It could be 5 years. It could be 50 years. Regardless, over time, what you can purchase with that dollar is going to decrease. That's why back in the day, your parents or grandparents say a gallon of gas costed, 20 cents. Pack of cigarettes costed whatever. And nowadays, cigarettes are $11. Gas is several dollars. That's inflation. That's because you have to pay more dollars since the dollar's weakening. Sorry I had to break that down, but I'm just trying to get the point across and bring the picture to everyone so we're on the same page. Now, the United States dollar is, of course, a piece of paper. While it is a medium of currency used for exchange between labor, services, products, and goods, it is a constantly devaluing currency, sometimes slow, sometimes fast. Now, the dollar's actually lost 44% in the last 20 years. So it's weakening a lot faster. The dollar doesn't stretch as far as it used to because the money supply is always expanding. When compared with its value in gold, here's what happened, and the reason why you might want to own some physical silver or gold. Between 1783 and 1913, the US dollar was a real store of wealth because inflation was essentially zero, except during wartime, obviously. But if you saved a dollar in the year 1800, 100 years later, you could still buy the same amount of goods with your savings. Until 1933, which was when FDR changed the gold to silver ratio from 16 to 1 to 75 to 1. That's also when they confiscated gold, or they say it right here. It's when everything changed. People carried gold coins in their pockets. Paper bills could be exchanged for gold and silver coins at any bank. In 1933, however, gold of the U.S. citizen was confiscated by the government. The dollar was devalued by 41%. And it was the executive order 6812 or something. I made a video about this about a week ago, maybe a week and a half ago. He put out, and this was in the newspaper, this big article that said from FDR, attention, if you own gold, you have to turn it in to the bank or you will be sent to prison for 10 years or $10,000 fine. And it even said, or both. You had to turn it in. Imagine seeing that today, like in today's time, right? I mean, they're not going to kick in your door, but if they find out you have it, you could go to prison for 10 years. So until 1933, people carried gold coins in their pockets and paper bills could be exchanged for gold and silver coins at any bank. In 1933, however, the gold of U.S. citizens was confiscated by the government and the dollar was devalued by 41%. The Treasury then attempted to hold the value of the dollar at 1/35 an ounce of gold, 810 milligrams, which was mostly successful until the late 1960s. Shortly thereafter, in late 1960s, think about that. When was, yeah, exactly, pre-1965 constitutional silver? Shortly thereafter, the fact it required so much gold to buy all the dollars that foreign countries were selling, the government decided to stop and close the gold window in 1971. Over the next 10 years, the value of the dollar collapsed and hit bottom in 1980. 1980. What happened in 1980? That was the Hunt brothers pushing silver up to $50, and then the government putting in or actually banning silver, called Silver Rule 7, which made silver at least crash from $50 down to like $9 again or whatever. So you see how all of these numbers are very similar, or they're very close to times of precious metals, I guess. Like we see 1933, obviously gold confiscation, also when the gold to silver ratio was 16 to 1 to 75 to 1. And then we see 1960s, obviously 1965, silver wasn't, our money wasn't backed by anything anymore. And then you see 1980, that was when the Hunt brothers pushed silver up to $50. The government banned silver, crashed the price. You see how all of these dates are like spot on with situations that happened with the dollar? That's because there's a correlation. So then through the next 20 years, the dollar slowly recovered some of its value as a result of paying high rates of interest and reducing taxes, but the dollar recovery didn't last long. See, fiat systems are designed to fail. Literally designed to fail. It's like trying to pay off debt with more debt. It's like trying to pay off a credit card with another credit card. It doesn't work. It's not supposed to work. And from 1999 to today, the dollar fell in value from about 123 milligrams of gold to less than 23 milligrams of an ounce. That's more than 80%. From 1900 to 2014, the dollar has fallen from 1,500 milligrams of gold to about 23 milligrams, has lost over 98% of its purchasing power. Do you think the trend will continue? Yes, the trend will continue. The Federal Reserve has no choice but to maintain their IRP, zero interest rate policy, and will be printing dollar currency for the foreseeable future. And I think this article was written, yeah, this was around the time that, the president was putting out these outlandish numbers of the Green New Deal. But I mean, this was in January, so things got a little more, I guess, extreme over the next several months. But at the end of the day, this is all still relevant. It just might happen sooner or later, and that's what I always say about about, I guess, this virus. I can't say the word, or my video won't get pushed in the algorithm. But you guys know what I'm talking about, right? The global situation we're in. No matter if that happened or not, this was all going to happen. I was still going to be making videos for the last year and a half talking about silver being extremely valuable and why you should buy it. The situation just sped things up times 10, right? It just sped things up times 10 and exposed how broke the United States really is. And that's why we're seeing everything happen at such an alarming rate. And that's why we have to be prepared at a much faster rate. What was going to happen, what was deemed to happen in 10 years, could be happening in 3 years now. So their other choice to raise interest rates will destroy what's left of the economy. The interest payments on the debt will skyrocket and will likely trigger a chain reaction destruction of the derivatives market worth hundreds of trillions of dollars, some say as high as a quadrillion, bringing down the entire financial system into a heap of rubble. It seems reasonable then to preserve someone's wealth by procuring some physical bullion, be it silver or gold. Silver certainly is the easiest to build on, given its current bargain spot price, approximately $19 an ounce as of this article date. And obviously, silver's grown a lot from then. I feel like a lot of people forget that for the last decade, the average price of silver was $15. But since so many people are new stackers that started, during the Wall Street silver movement or whatever, they're so used to paying $25, $26, $27 an ounce that's their norm for them. They're desensitized to higher prices, so they see $19. They're like, man, that's cheap. But to someone who's been buying silver for more than a year, or maybe 2 years, $19 is still pretty high. I mean, I remember buying silver. I remember the first time silver broke through $20 in 2016 when I've been making daily videos for seriously like 6 years now. It's crazy. But I remember in 2016 making my normal video just like I am now. Silver broke through $20 and we all like celebrated. Like seriously, like it was huge for it to break through $20. Now, gold, although is more expensive in dollars, about $1,245 an ounce as of today's date, but has been manipulated to this low dollar price and will eventually find its real physical dollar value equivalent when they are no longer able to control it. And I think that's more so even silver manipulation more than gold. Yes, both gold and silver are manipulated, but you can see silver is manipulated to a higher degree by looking at the gold to silver ratio. The gold to silver ratio should not be 75, 80 to 1 when it comes out of the ground, roughly 8 to 1. I see the gold to silver ratio lowering, meaning silver has a lot more outperforming to do, which would also be more towards a natural price or a natural, I guess, ratio, because for the last 5,000 years, it's been 8 to 1. And that's because that's the rate it comes out of the ground. For thousands of years, it was 8 to 1. Actually, in biblical times, it was 2.5 to 1. 2.5 parts silver equals 1 part gold. Actually, at one time, it was 1 to 1. And that's because they actually praised silver more than gold because silver is more useful. They thought silver was literally magical because it can purify water. If you put it in milk, it keeps the milk fresh longer. And it responds with other metals like no other, like nothing else. Silver is the most highly conductive metal for thermal conductivity and electricity and even light sensitivity. I mean, nothing is like silver. So I don't know why gold is 80 times more valuable when all it is useful for is looking cool. I mean, yes, it's used a little bit in technology, but majority of gold is jewelry, stuff like that. But that's a whole separate video. Now, when we're looking at this excessive spending, we know that at some point because 98% is close to 99%, which is closer to 100%. But at 100%, what happens? Well, have you ever seen third world countries where I swear there's and actually showed a couple pictures the other day on my channel when I was trying to make some type of point, but in third world countries, their dollar is so deflated that they carry their money in trash bags and they weigh their money on scales. It's like a $1 bill having the purchasing power of like a dime, like 10 cents. So if you want to buy something from the store, you have to hand over hundreds or thousands of dollars. So instead of counting it all, they just weigh it. Just weigh it. Seriously, too. I'm not like, you can look this stuff up. That's why you see the Zimbabwe $1 trillion bill. That's why there's a couple people holding signs saying like, I'm a broke billionaire. That's the direction that every fiat-based system is headed. It's just going to take the United States longer because we're wealthier. And the only reason we're wealthier is because we own the most gold. I mean, isn't this just kind of silly to think about? But anyways, let's read a little bit into this. I remember this is not a political video. I'm just talking about what's happening, right? The decisions they're making and how this is going to affect the price of silver. So he says, if your primary concern right now is the cost of living, you should support this plan, not oppose it. And he's talking about $3.5 trillion thrown out. There's going to be a price to pay. Maybe you get a small $1,100 paycheck, but at what cost? But whether candidate A, B, C, or D won the election, if they didn't throw out that $1 trillion stimulus word, they were not going to get elected. So regardless if he knows, see, that's the excessive spending part, because they all had to throw out that. They all had to, I mean, people were down bad, right? We can't try to, deem that off. People needed some type of stimulus, but the excessive spending part, that's why people are worried, because a lot of that is excessive. It's too much. We don't have that much money to give out, right? But what are we going to tell people? We can't give you a paycheck because we're actually broke. No, but that's why they had to. But I just don't know if the stuff, the extra stuff is worth it, and our kids and our grandkids are going to be the ones paying for it. So, and who knows how long the dollar's going to last realistically? Who knows? Who knows? I do know one thing though. Gold and silver is still going to be valuable for the next 100 years, for the next 500 years, for the next 1,000 years, for the next 5,000 years. Gold and silver will still be valuable. There's nothing else in the universe that is like gold or silver. I mean, there's an asteroid coming towards Earth. I think it's going to arrive by the year 2026. And they're saying that there's like $700 quintillion worth of gold and silver and other metals on this asteroid. It's like a rock just filled of gold and silver. And they're trying to learn how to mine it. It's called space mining. I made a video about this. I swear, I make so many freaking videos. Like every time I'm making a point, I'm like, oh yeah, I just made a video about that the other day. Or I just made it. It's true though. I mean, I cover everything, and I really do. That's why you should subscribe right now. But for real though, on a more serious note, this asteroid is coming, and they're trying to figure out how to mine it, space mining. And if they if they can successfully, because they have 5-6 years left to figure this out, there would never be a gold or silver shortage. They said that there would be so much gold and silver, it would be worth less than a rock you can find outside in your backyard, which is crazy to think about, but that's a reality. I mean, that could be a reality. Highly, highly unlikely, but as we advance, there are going to be, I guess, advanced technologically, there are going to be new opportunities that arise, whether it's figuring out how to mine gold and silver out of the ground easier, or whatever the case is. And I actually just made a video about this yesterday. There we go again, where I was talking about what's going to happen when there is a silver shortage. I mean, we know there's a silver shortage, but what's going to be the outcome? Because if there's a shortage of silver, that means that they don't have enough silver. And if they don't have enough silver, that means that we can't make the things that need the silver. And what do we need the silver for? Well, that's electric vehicles, 5G towers, solar panels, the Green New Deal. Does that mean that we can't pursue the Green New Deal because there's not enough silver? I mean, think about it. We always stop thinking at silver shortage, we get rich, right? $100 silver, $1,000, whatever. But have you ever thought through that, saying, okay, yeah, now we have all this money, but what's gonna happen when they don't have enough silver to make that stuff? Are they just gonna poof it out of thin air? Are they just gonna tell everyone, never mind, we're going back to gas vehicles, we don't have enough silver to make the newest, latest Tesla? No. There's going to be something. Are they going to ban silver like they did in 1980? That's what my video was about yesterday. So they can get the silver back? Because that's what they essentially did to the Hunt brothers when they owned 77% of the global silver production or silver supply. Who knows? But anyway, sorry, this is a very rambly type of video, but I feel like I've been making relevant points to what we're kind of talking about. So this article will be in the description as well. So is the silver price preparing for another run at the elusive $30 level? The psychological $30 level. The spot price of silver has finally reclaimed the $24 milestone, which could put silver back on the road to this year's high. And when was this written? 3 days ago. Okay, so good. Over the last 3 months, taper fears have been a constant source of frustration for the silver's price. This culminated in a Sunday night flash crash that drilled silver to a 9-month low, $22.26. Although since then, silver has been clawing its way higher, and on Friday finally clambered back above the $24 level. Furthermore, Federal Chairman Jerome Powell's Dovis-Jackson Hole address could send the silver price higher still. Now, we know every time the FOMC, Federal Chairman Jerome Powell, addresses anything, first, there's a lot of speculation because people are trying to guess what he's going to say. And then there is what he says. And then there's the after effect, the ripple effect of what they say, usually taken to a catastrophic or more extreme level than what they even say is. And that affects the price dramatically as well. Speculation plays a heavy role in silver's pricing today. You guys all know, if you watch any of my videos, I hate that S word, which is speculation. I feel like it has no place in precious metals that should be fundamentally priced from supply and demand. But anyways, the most recent bearishness comes from high vaccination rates, economic reopenings, leading to calls for central banks to scale back asset purchases. These fears were further compounded last week when South Korea became the first major economy to raise interest rates since this whole situation started. However, despite telling the market expects tapering to being before the end of the year, Fed Chairman Jerome Powell dismissed the notion of following South Korea's lead and said, "The timing and pace of the coming reduction in asset purchases will not be intended to carry a direct signal regarding the timing of interest rate liftoff, for which we have articulated a different and substantially more stringent test." As a result, the U.S. dollar lost ground against its major trading pairs, sending gold back above the important $1,800 level and helping silver build on its recent reversal. But the question is, what happens now? And yes, that's the $1 million question. So obviously we have to pay very close attention to the FOMC announcing these things, because that affects the price dramatically. We have to pay attention to all this stuff, even stock market volatility, cryptocurrency. All of these things are intertwined with the price of silver, even gold. So that's why you can't be blindly investing anymore in today's day and age. And I was talking to the owner of my local coin shop about this. I interviewed him in a video I posted a couple months ago. There we go again. But I asked him, this was one of the first questions I asked him in the interview. You should go watch that video. It's really good. He's been in business selling, with from a local coin shop perspective for I think he said like 40 years, and he's been stacking silver or buying silver for like 50. But I asked him back in the day when you started, or even just a couple decades ago, how you invested and what silver stacking was like. Maybe the types of silver you bought would affect the price. Is it dramatically different than it is today, or is it just and he said, oh, it's completely different, right? He himself has to adjust and adapt. And so how you stacked silver back in the day and what affected the price back in the day is different from today, and it will be different heading in the future. So yes, we might be stacking a certain way right now, but that doesn't mean this is always going to be our strategy. Look at American Eagles. I used to tell beginners, yo, American Eagles, the best coin, close to spot price, government backed. But now American Eagles are high premium silver. I have to recommend generic rounds now. I can't even recommend an American Eagle anymore. That premium gap is starting to change. Spot price and the physical price of silver is detached now. Times are changing. We can kick and scream and cry and pout all we want, or we can adjust and adapt accordingly like successful investors do, right? So anyways, I'm going to wrap this video up here. I know this was a very long video, but I feel like there was a lot of content, a lot of subject matter compacted into this video. Hopefully you agree. And hopefully if you disagreed with anything I said, you don't take it too negative. You don't bash me for it, because this is all opinionated. I mean, I'm reading facts, but I'm also sharing my opinion of these facts. So everyone can have different opinions. Remember, it's not a political video. I don't care what you think he did in Afghanistan is right or wrong. I don't care about your opinion. I do care about your opinion on the investing part, the precious metals part, but about the random stuff, the noise, I don't want to hear it. It's not a place for this channel. Go check out, another, see the news or something. I don't know. So yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. If you've been watching this video this whole time, you are crazy, and I love you, and give yourself a pat on the back, because you stuck through this whole thing, not clicking off thinking you know it all, or not clicking off thinking that you don't need to hear anymore. It shows a lot about your personality that you were willing to sit through this and get every piece of information. It shows a lot about your character, and I can guarantee you have a way better silver stacking strategy in place than the person that clicked off in 2 minutes thinking they knew all this, or thinking that they don't need to know all this, right? I mean, seriously, congrats. Pat yourself on the back if you're still listening to me tell you this right now. Congrats. So anyways, yeah, I'm going to wrap this video up here. Thanks for tuning in. This is Silver Slayer. I'll see you guys soon. Peace.